Welcome to the study. This is Brofessor Hemlock, and I'm here today to talk about the build I'm using. Woohoo! This is a build that I have found very exciting, and I've played for most of my time in New World these two weapons. First off, we're running the Life Staff. So Life Staff, this is New World's healing weapon. It is the only healing weapon in the game. There are currently no other options for healing weapons. My secondary slotted weapon is a Great Axe, known for being a bruiser melee type, where you're in there, you're doing a lot of wide swinging damage, you have a lot of good chase down mechanics. Essentially, this coupling is going to be your more melee healer combat type. I am pairing this with heavy armor, meaning I will have increased duration to all of my debuff and crowd control effects, and I will have a very, very short dodge. So one of the things is that when you dodge, your dodge will go very small and heavy compared to in light, where it will be a full roll, or medium, where it is a wide jump. So I am running a full heavy setup. Something to also note here is all of my gear has Resilient on it. Resilient is extremely important. It is one of the most important perks in the game. This essentially is going to reduce an amount of damage you're taking by a very, very large margin. If you are level 60 and you don't have every slot with Resilient, that should be your focus. For PvP, it is undeniably the best perk to have on your gear. So very important to get in every slot, in addition to gemming with either diamonds or onyx. They both reduce damage, whether it's physical and elemental. Very important to have as well. Every other perk I haven't gotten to optimize yet, but that is what you want on all of your gear. Now, in my weapon slots, I am using a 562 Life Staff. The big thing on this Life Staff, though, is the perk Blessed. 27% healing bonus. If I were to have a 600 gear score weapon without Blessed, it would not do as much healing as a 560 with Blessed. Most important perk to have if you're going to use that Life Staff, you need to have a weapon with Blessed. That is your number one priority. In my backup slot, I am using a traditional Great Axe. I have gemmed it with a focus gem. That way there will be damage conversion to nature. One of the things that I would prefer to have on my Great Axe, instead of keen speed and hated, I would obviously love to just have keen on there. Keen and some combination of either crit bonus damage or like keen speed as well. Keen is going to just give you a flat crit percent. So in this case, I think it's 10% on items around that level of gear score. So those are my weapon setups and armor. For my jewelry, oh my gosh, earring slot. This is the only earring you should be using in New World right now. 20 Constitution, but the big thing is the benefits. The Refreshing Toast, 25% faster cooldown reduction of potions, mana and health potions. Oh, you absolutely need to have this. Potions should not be considered consumables in New World. They are an ability, and how you use those abilities will define your PvP experience in New World. In addition to that, I am using a ring that has Keen Awareness on it for that bonus crit chance. And then I am using the Quest necklace here. This is obtainable in a quest. The big thing on this one, forgetting the stat allocation, you gain 9.3% more health from incoming healing effects. Your Fortified lasts longer, which is a buff we're going to go over when we get to our Life Staff talent tree. And then you have 9% more maximum health, and you don't even need to have as much Constitution because of that. Must-haves. So this is a must-have, and this is a must-have. Pretty much these two are non-negotiables. This earring, amazing health pot reduction, and this max health and more healing. They're two must-have items. The necklace is obtained for a quest line. I can go over that in another video if I get some requests for it. From there, let's go over the attributes. What are we running for our stat allocations? Now, I don't have what I would consider to be perfectly optimal stat allocations right now. What I would really like to have is 100 con instead of 116, and I'd like to have 150 focus instead of 136. If I was to be absolutely perfectly optimal. The reason here, you only need 100 in con because you want that perk. You want that increased max health by 10% of your physical armor. We're wearing heavy armor. We want 100 con. It's going to give you a lot of physical armor. Very important to have. There's a lot of heavy melee damage dealers in the open world. So wearing heavy is also really beneficial, and this making you have more health. Great talent point to have up to that. The 150 focus one that I would like to have is more of a PvE focused than PvP focused. You gain 30 mana on kills. Now, this is great in PvE. It's going to make it so you don't run out of mana in a PvE encounter on trash pack pulls. Great for dungeon runs. I would really like to have that point for my PvE focus, but since I do play predominantly for PvP, it's not as necessary. In strength, I kind of have tossed any extra stats into strength. This is going to make my Great Axe deal more damage. Even though I do have that amber gem in my Great Axe that will allocate some damage to nature and scale off of focus, any points in strength will still increase the damage of my Great Axe by a larger percentage than any points in focus. And this first talent point here gives you 5% damage on light swings. For PvE, the Great Axe does a lot of light swings, and light swings gain bonus damage stacks. So you'll be doing a lot of light swings in PvE with your Great Axe. That 5% damage to light swings really adds up. Going over our weapon mastery here, I do have my Great Axe at 20, so I have fully capped out my potential here. I'm going to try and go over this build really quickly. If you're familiar with New World or have seen this before, you can kind of copy the build from this position. I think the keynotes here are we're getting Reap. This is going to be essentially a pull. So whenever I have an enemy running away from me, I'm able to extend the axe out, it pulls them in, and then you perform a swinging attack afterwards that will deal bonus damage. Typically, you follow that up with a heavy, since your heavy is going to pull them back in. In addition, your heavy is going to pull them back in, and your heavy is going to have grit. So heavy pull, heavy attacks with your Great Axe pull them closer to you, and Enduring Strike. This adds grit to your heavy attacks. You're going to take 20% less damage, and grit prevents staggering effects, so it keeps you always in the swing animation. The only thing that can stop grit is an active stun, so that is very important to know. You need to be stunned to stop a grit heavy. I'm running Charge in addition to that. Charge is essentially a gap closer, very strong gap closer. It adds grit to the charge. You charge, you swing at the end of your charge. Pretty straightforward, not much special there. These two talent points are entirely worthless. It adds a small amount of bonus damage to charge. That's not the point of charge. Charge is a gap closer. That's all it needs to be. Any other points into charge are essentially a giant waste. Moving on down the tree here, we have important things that we want to look at. Critical gains. When you crit, you heal yourself more. This is kind of why I've talked about I want my Great Axe to have the crit % bonus on the Great Axe, and that's why the Great Axe I'm using right now is not that good. Great Axe has a lot of crit chance modifiers. Keen Edge increases your crit damage. There's also another one here, somewhere in here, Critical Condition, there it is. On targets below 30%, you crit 15% more often. So I'm trying to stack crit. That's going to be an important thing for Great Axe. The final talent here, Bloodlust. If you're targeting someone, you're going to run faster and you're going to deal more damage to them. Straightforward, nothing to really talk about bonus there. Gravity Well is my final ability. Gravity Well, it's a giant vortex. You use it, it sucks people into it, and they can't move while in it. They also cannot dodge roll while they're in their Gravity Well. Since they can't dodge roll while they're in their Gravity Well, it is very important to get them into the Gravity Well, and then you're able to apply a heavy attack to them instantly. That heavy attack will then make it so that you're having the grit, reduce damage. From there, I have some basic extra bonus points. Gravity, this is the really only important one on this tree to get. After you pull a foe, they're held 30% longer. So this is your gravity well, this is your reap, and this is your heavy attacks. Anything that pulls targets. You got 3 abilities that pull. You got to have this one for PvP. Other than that, every other talent point is kind of interchangeable. These are all options. Center of Attention, this is a PvE talent. There's really no other talent that is PvP noteworthy. So it is kind of just preference from that point. Finally, going into our breakdown of Life Staff. Life Staff, this is your primary weapon. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time. Light Staff, abilities, Sacred Ground. Sacred Ground is essentially going to be an amazing ability where you put down this little circle around you, and it's going to heal a whole bunch. You get all the talent row in this. It's going to essentially make Sacred Ground heal more, and in addition to that, stamina and mana regeneration. So standing in your Sacred Ground is super beneficial always. Other important things to note, light and heavy staffs no longer cost mana. You absolutely need this talent. Divine Blessing is a little bit superior to the opposing end line. This is a great one to have. Again, if someone's really low, you just pop them up. It's going to be a lot more healing than you traditionally would need. Everything else here is just really the only other options to take. Nothing too special. I'm not going to dive too deep into why I selected those. Big thing here, Light's Embrace and Beacon. Beacon, another AoE heal, so I'm swapping out my life staff. This is Sacred Ground. Sacred Ground, just an amazing heal option. This is your stand in it. It recovers stamina, mana, and heals group. Beacon, you can actually target a player with this. When you slap them with a beacon, if they move, the beacon will follow them, and it will heal everyone that's in that circle of the beacon. You can also drop beacon straight onto the ground, and that when you drop it straight onto the ground, it will stay stationary. From there, your other healing ability, the last one, this is my targeted heal. So if I'm looking to, oh my gosh, one person is directly low, I'm targeting my nearest targets with scroll wheel targeting. If I want to target myself, I press mouse 4, and I deliver that lovely self-heal. That one is going to be a massive, massive heal. It does a lot of HP. The one talent I'm missing is Inspire. This essentially will make it so when I cast my single target heal, I'm going to gain stamina back. So that is the current build I'm running. I'm looking forward to giving everyone some more PvP videos on this one. Should be a lot of fun. I have some film footage. I have some footage that I've already filmed, and I'm ready to share that with everyone. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.